As a flight attendant, I had grown accustomed to the routine and predictability of my job. But on that fateful day, the sky transformed into a realm of terror and uncertainty, shattering the tranquility I once associated with flying. Our aircraft soared through the endless expanse of the sky, carrying me, the crew, and a plane load of passengers to our destination. It was just another routine flight, or so we thought. Suddenly, the calmness of the cockpit was pierced by a crackling distress call. The voice on the other end was filled with desperation and fear. It was another plane in our vicinity, pleading for help. The crew scrambled to pinpoint the source of the distress signal, their brows furrowed with concern. The words hung in the air like a haunting mantra, a desperate plea for salvation. My heart raced, its rhythm mirroring the urgency of the situation. Fear etched deep lines on the faces of my crewmates, their eyes reflecting a mixture of determination and trepidation. We were about to embark on a mission that defied logic, one that thrust us into the heart of a menacing unknown. As we navigated our aircraft towards the distressed plane, a palpable tension filled the air. The cockpit hummed with a mix of anticipation and fear, each breath pregnant with the weight of the lives at stake. The radar screen flickered with blips of nearby aircraft, their existence a testament to the imminent collision course we were hurtling towards. My fingers danced across the control panel, their movements precise but strained. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on my shoulders, threatening to buckle under the burden. The lives of those aboard both planes now rested in our hands, dependent on our ability to intervene, to somehow defy the cruel whims of fate. Outside the window, the vast expanse of the sky seemed to close in on us, as if conspiring to trap us within its merciless grip. The once serene heavens now held an air of foreboding, an ominous backdrop to the impending chaos. Clouds swirled in dark, menacing patterns, mirroring the turbulence that churned within our very souls. A sense of urgency propelled us forward, our aircraft slicing through the air with a purposeful determination. But with each passing second, the distance between us and the distressed plane seemed to stretch, taunting us with its elusiveness. Doubt crept into our minds like a venomous whisper. Would we reach them in time? Or were we doomed to witness a catastrophic collision unfold before our eyes? The intercom crackled to life, the voice of air traffic control a lifeline amidst the mounting tension. Instructions and reassurances mingled with static, a symphony of hope amidst the cacophony of chaos. But even their guidance held a hint of uncertainty, a reflection of the magnitude of the situation at hand. We were venturing into uncharted territory, tethered to the fate of our fellow pilots by a fragile thread. As we closed in on the distressed plane, a sinking feeling settled in the pit of my stomach. The aircraft, a mere speck in the vast expanse of the sky, appeared to be spiraling out of control. The turbulence shook it like a rag doll, its erratic movements defying any semblance of order. It was a dance of desperation, a battle against the forces of gravity and fate. With every fiber of our beings, we fought to maintain control, to steady our course and bring stability to the chaos. The cries of distress from the other pilots echoed through the intercom, their voices a testament to their harrowing struggle. We shared in their fear, their vulnerability, as we navigated the treacherous terrain that lay between us. In those moments, time ceased to have meaning. But something was amiss. As we neared the location provided by the distressed plane, it became clear that they were not responding to our communications. Panic began to creep into our voices as we repeatedly tried to establish contact, but only silence greeted us in return. The once distant plane now appears ominously close, hurtling towards us on a collision course. Terror gripped my chest, squeezing the air from my lungs. How could this be happening? Frantic, we veered sharply to avoid the impending catastrophe, our passengers jolted by the sudden movement. The air around us seemed to vibrate with an unspoken horror as we watched the other plane pass mere meters away, its presence looming like a grim specter. But as the initial shock subsided, confusion replaced fear. How could a plane be on a collision course without anyone on board attempting to rectify the situation? It defied all logic, leaving us grasping at straws for an explanation. We continued our attempts to establish communication, but the radio waves remained eerily silent. The crew exchanged worried glances, a shared understanding that we had stumbled upon something inexplicable and sinister. Time seemed to stretch in that surreal moment, the seconds ticking by like agonizing hours. As we pushed forward, desperate to find answers, a chilling realization took hold. The distressed plane was not merely malfunctioning, but devoid of any human presence. The implications were unfathomable. How could an aircraft navigate the skies without a pilot, without a crew? What unseen force had taken control, transforming it into a mechanical monstrosity destined for destruction? As we relayed our findings to air traffic control, their disbelief mirrored our own. Yet, they urged us to maintain our distance, unwilling to risk further lives in the face of an inexplicable and potentially dangerous phenomenon. The minutes turned into an eternity as we watched the empty vessel continue its relentless flight, disappearing into the vastness of the horizon. The sense of dread that permeated the cabin was palpable, a heavy weight pressing upon our souls. In the aftermath of that haunting encounter, investigations ensued, but answers remained elusive. The story of the ghostly plane would become legend, whispered among aviation circles as a cautionary tale of the unknown, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying things can lurk within the ordinary. And so, we returned to the skies, our faith in the safety of flight shaken but unbroken. The memory of that harrowing day still haunted our dreams, a chilling reminder that even in the realm of the familiar, darkness can take hold and defy all reason. Let's hop onto story number 2, but before I begin reading, make sure that you have subscribed to Mr. Scare for regular horror podcasts. As a commercial airline pilot, I had experienced my fair share of turbulence and technical glitches throughout my career. But nothing could have prepared me for the harrowing ordeal that unfolded on that fateful flight. The day started like any other. The passengers boarded the plane with anticipation, and I went through the pre-flight checks, ensuring everything was in order. Little did I know that the skies held a dark secret, ready to unleash its terrifying grip upon us. As we ascended into the vast expanse of the sky, the first signs of trouble appeared. The instrument panel flickered, and the communication system crackled with static. I dismissed it as a minor glitch, a temporary disruption that would soon be rectified. But the glitches persisted, growing more frequent and unsettling. The autopilot malfunctioned, forcing me to take manual control. The navigation system went haywire, sending us off course. Panic began to trickle through the cabin as unease spread like wildfire among the passengers. As I struggled to regain control, the radio fell silent. The once lively chatter with air traffic control vanished into an eerie silence. We were isolated, cut off from the guidance and support that had always been our lifeline in the skies. Tension gripped my heart as I fought to maintain composure. The passengers looked to me for reassurance, their eyes filled with a mix of anticipation and dread. But deep down, I knew the situation was far from normal. Fear and uncertainty filled the cabin, their presence palpable, as we flew blind through the vast expanse above. It had started as a routine flight, the hum of the engines providing a false sense of security. But then, like a predator lurking in the shadows, the first sign of trouble emerged, a flicker in the instrument panel, a subtle indication that something was amiss. I dismissed it as a glitch, a momentary hiccup in our otherwise smooth journey. But as time ticked on, the glitches multiplied, like whispers of an approaching storm. The radar screen flickered, displaying erratic blips that vanished as quickly as they appeared. Communication with air traffic control grew patchy, their voices distorted and fragmented, swallowed by an unnerving silence. And outside the windows, the darkness seemed to press closer, as if concealing a malevolent force. A shiver ran down my spine as I glanced at the co-pilot, his face etched with the same mix of fear and confusion. We exchanged knowing looks, silently acknowledging the gravity of our situation. Our training had prepared us for many scenarios, but this was uncharted territory, a dance with an unseen adversary. The atmosphere inside the cabin grew heavy, as if the weight of our collective unease pressed upon us. Passengers shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their whispers muffled by the mounting tension. I tried to project an air of calm, to maintain the facade of control, but each passing minute chipped away at my composure. Hours turned into an eternity as we soared through the unknown. The air grew heavy with an unspoken dread, and the sound of passengers' breathing seemed unnaturally amplified. Each passing moment was a reminder of our vulnerability, our frailty in the face of an invisible enemy. In the midst of the chaos, I glimpsed fleeting shadows out of the corner of my eye. They danced in the periphery of my vision, defying explanation. Whispers echoed through the cabin, eerie words that sent shivers down my spine. I was not alone in sensing the presence that lurked within the plane. Desperation consumed me as I searched for answers. I scoured the cockpit, examining every inch for clues to our predicament. But it was when I glanced out the window that I saw it, a grotesque figure, impossibly perched on the wing, leering at me with malevolent eyes. With a surge of adrenaline, I alerted the passengers to the presence outside. Gasps of horror filled the cabin as they beheld the unthinkable. Fear united us, driving us to face the unknown head-on. Together, we devised a plan, mustering our collective courage. Passengers armed themselves with makeshift weapons, ready to defend against whatever lurked beyond the cabin doors. We were determined to protect ourselves, to survive this terrifying ordeal. But just as hope began to dwindle, a miracle occurred. The glitchy instruments flickered back to life, and the communication system crackled to vibrant activity. Air traffic control's voice broke through the static, guiding us to safety. The skies opened up, revealing a path back to civilization. As we touched down on solid ground, a wave of relief washed over us. We had survived the unimaginable, emerging from the clutches of the unexplained. The passengers disembarked, their faces etched with both fear and gratitude. In the aftermath, investigations were launched, searching for answers to the inexplicable events that had unfolded. The incident would forever remain a haunting memory, a reminder of the terrors that can lurk in the seemingly ordinary. But we, the survivors, carried the scars of that flight, both physical and emotional. The skies, once a realm of freedom and tranquility, now held a shadow of uncertainty. And though we had emerged intact, we knew we would never forget the horrors that had unfolded above the clouds. I can still feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins as I recall the terror that consumed us during that ill-fated flight. It was supposed to be a carefree getaway, a private chartered plane carrying a group of friends seeking adventure and relaxation. Little did we know that our journey would take an unexpected and terrifying turn. As we boarded the plane, excitement filled the air. Laughter and chatter echoed through the cabin as we settled into our seats. The engines roared to life, and with a jolt, we were airborne, soaring above the familiar landscape below. But our anticipation quickly turned to unease as dark storm clouds gathered on the horizon. The skies darkened, and the atmosphere grew heavy with foreboding. Uneasy glances were exchanged among us as we watched the looming tempest draw closer, its fury building with each passing moment. The turbulence began innocently enough, a few bumps and jolts that caused our hearts to skip a beat. We clung to our seats, gripping the armrests in anxious anticipation. The plane rattled and shook as if it were engaged in a fierce battle with the elements. Then, all at once, the storm unleashed its full wrath. Torrential rain hammered against the windows, blurring the line between the safety of the cabin and the malevolent forces that raged outside. The glass pane transformed into a distorted canvas of swirling chaos, obscuring our view of the outside world. The wind, no longer a mere gust, howled with a primal fury, as if the very elements conspired to tear the plane apart. Panic, like a venomous serpent, coiled around our hearts, constricting our breath as we clung to any semblance of stability. The aircraft trembled beneath the assault, its fuselage groaning in protest against the relentless onslaught. The once steady hum of the engines now battled against the cacophony of nature's fury, their strained roar a feeble attempt to assert dominance over the tempest. We were mere pawns in a game played by forces far greater than our mortal selves, caught in the crossfire of their eternal conflict. In the cabin, fear took on tangible form, etching itself onto the faces of the passengers. Eyes widened with terror, hands gripped armrests in a futile attempt to anchor themselves amidst the turbulence. The illusion of control shattered like fragile glass, leaving us at the mercy of a merciless storm. The turbulence intensified, as if the storm's wrath had grown jealous of the temporary respite we found in our captain's words. The plane jolted and shuddered, threatening to tear itself apart at any moment. Fear became an all-consuming force, eclipsing reason and logic. We were adrift, lost in a dark abyss of swirling terror, with no end in sight. Time ceased to have meaning as the storm held us captive, a relentless captor with no mercy in its heart. Minutes felt like hours, and hours stretched into an eternity of anguish. Our minds spiraled into a maddening dance between resignation and desperate hope, teetering on the precipice of sanity. And then it happened, a terrifying moment that felt like an eternity. The plane was caught in a powerful updraft, lifting us higher into the storm's clutches before abruptly plunging us into a dizzying nosedive. Time seemed to slow as we were thrust forward, our screams lost in the chaos of the tempest. Inside the cabin, objects flew, crashing into one another. The deafening roar of the storm drowned out our cries for help. Fear gripped each of us as we clung to our seats, bracing for the impact that seemed inevitable. But in the midst of the chaos, the impossible happened. The skilled pilot fought against the elements, struggling to regain control. The nose of the plane leveled out, and gradually, we stabilized. A collective sigh of relief swept through the cabin as hope blossomed in our hearts. As the storm dissipated, we emerged from the turbulent ordeal, battered but alive. The plane, miraculously intact, soared through the clearing skies. The anxiety that had consumed us transformed into a deep sense of gratitude for our survival. We landed on solid ground, trembling but grateful. Emergency personnel rushed to our aid, ensuring our well-being and offering words of comfort. Each of us carried the scars of that terrifying experience, a constant reminder of the fragility of life. In the aftermath, investigations were launched to determine the cause of the severe storm and the extraordinary efforts of our pilot to navigate through it. The incident served as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of nature itself and the vulnerability of those who dared to challenge its might. We, the group of friends, emerged from that flight forever changed. We had faced our worst fears head-on, and though the scars remained, we also carried with us a newfound appreciation for the precious gift of life. I've always been drawn to the mysteries that the night sky holds, but what I encountered during that fateful flight shattered any sense of wonder I once had. It was a routine cargo run, just another night soaring through the darkness, until something inexplicable tore through the fabric of my reality. As I piloted the cargo plane through the vast expanse above, the solitude and silence wrapped around me like an old friend. But that tranquility was soon shattered by a blinding flash of light that pierced through the cockpit window. Startled, I instinctively maneuvered the plane, desperately trying to comprehend what I had witnessed. That's when I saw it, an object unlike anything I had ever encountered. It hovered in the sky, its metallic form gleaming under the moon's pale glow. It defied all known laws of flight, dancing through the air with a grace that seemed otherworldly. My heart pounded in my chest as the realization sank in, I was not alone. As if mocking my presence, the unidentified flying object began to toy with my aircraft. It darted in front of me, effortlessly matching my speed. Its movements were precise, calculated, as if it were studying me, analyzing my every reaction. Panic set in, my hands trembling on the controls as I tried to shake off this persistent pursuer. But the object seemed relentless, an elusive phantom that had chosen me as its plaything. It swooped and dived, threatening to collide with my fragile plane. Each near miss sent shivers down my spine, the boundary between reality and nightmare blurring with each passing moment. As the minutes turned into hours, I realized I was caught in a sinister game orchestrated by forces beyond my comprehension. Questions swirled in my mind, but there was no time for answers. Survival became my sole focus, my determination to escape this maddening torment consuming my thoughts. In the midst of this terrifying encounter, I stumbled upon fragments of a dark truth, an insidious government conspiracy that extended far beyond the limits of my imagination. They were studying these unidentified objects, harnessing their power for their own sinister agendas. The realization shook me to my core, threatening not only my life but also my sanity. With renewed determination, I fought against the object's grasp, pushing my plane to its limits. It seemed as though the very laws of physics had betrayed me, as if the world around me had been distorted by the presence of this enigma. but my will to survive burned brighter than ever, propelling me forward. In a stroke of luck, I managed to break free from the object's relentless pursuit. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I navigated through the night sky, leaving the haunting presence behind. But the scars of that encounter remained etched into my psyche, a constant reminder of the darkness lurking just beyond our understanding. Since that harrowing night, I've grappled with the weight of the truth I uncovered. The world continues to turn, oblivious to the clandestine machinations that threaten to consume us all. But I cannot remain silent. I share my story, a warning to those who believe we are alone in the vastness of the universe. So, as I continue to pilot through the night sky, my eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the unknown, I am reminded of the fragility of our existence. The mysteries that lie beyond are both captivating and terrifying, and I, a mere witness to the inexplicable, am forever changed. I never expected my routine flight to take such a terrifying turn. As the small aircraft soared through the sky, carrying me and a handful of passengers, the distant view of a deserted island caught my eye. Little did I know that this would be the backdrop for a nightmarish ordeal none of us would ever forget. The engine sputtered and coughed, and before we knew it, the plane plummeted towards the unforgiving ground. Panic engulfed us as we braced ourselves for impact. The crash was violent, jolting our bodies and scattering debris in all directions. When I regained consciousness, I found myself lying on a sandy beach, disoriented and shaken. My eyes scanned the wreckage of the aircraft, relief washing over me as I realized that no lives had been lost in the crash. The other survivors soon emerged from the wreckage, their faces etched with fear and confusion. We took stock of our situation and quickly realized the severity of our predicament. Stranded on a seemingly deserted island with limited supplies, our chances of survival hung in the balance. But little did we know that the island held secrets far darker than we could have imagined. As we ventured deeper into the heart of the island, a sense of unease settled upon us. Whispers of hidden dangers and strange occurrences permeated our conversations. The once serene surroundings seemed to be tainted by an unseen malevolence, heightening our anxiety with each passing day. Our nights were plagued by unsettling nightmares, filled with eerie whispers and shadowy figures lurking just beyond the reach of our vision. The days offered no respite, as strange occurrences continued to baffle us. Supplies vanished without explanation, and eerie symbols appeared etched into the sand, as if marking our presence on this cursed island. Our search for answers led us to the island's dense, foreboding jungle. As we delved deeper into its depths, the air grew thick with an oppressive aura. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, rustling leaves, distant cries that sent shivers down our spines. It felt as though the island itself was alive, watching our every move. But it was the discovery of an ancient, crumbling structure that sent a chill down our collective spine. Inside, we found faded documents and journal entries that hinted at the island's dark past, a place where unspeakable rituals were performed and a sense of doom cast its shadow over all who set foot on its shores. Our resolve to survive wavered as the island's malevolence pressed down upon us. We fought against our own growing paranoia, clinging to the hope that rescue would come soon. Days turned into weeks, and desperation gnawed at our souls. And then, when it seemed all hope was lost, salvation arrived in the form of a passing ship. We stumbled onto the beach, our bodies emaciated and minds haunted by the terrors we had endured. The sight of the rescue team filled us with relief and gratitude, but also a profound understanding of the horrors that lay hidden on that forsaken island. As we sailed away, leaving the cursed shores behind, a heavy silence settled upon us. The island's dark secrets remained, buried within its depths. We were forever changed by the ordeal, scarred by the horrors we had witnessed and the darkness that had threatened to consume us.